Taylor's open or close. Are they open now though? Probably get water.
The 5-minute gun and the Amiga clock counting down to the start race 5. America's Cup 2003. The 31st match. Here on the Hauraki Golf on the front doorstep of Auckland, New Zealand. It is Team New Zealand coming in from the port end or left or pin end of the line. Meanwhile, coming in from the right, the starboard end, Alinghi, who come into this race 5 on match point, win this, and the America's Cup is going to Europe for the first time.
And Peter, it looks like Team New Zealand may be able to cross in front of Alinghi, showing us once again that the starboard or committee boat end of the starting line is a little bit upwind, a little favored. So again, look for the action to be up at that end. But then the boats have to decide which side to position themselves against each other based on their long-term forecast.
And we also should say the ankle warp on race control does make it difficult for the boat coming in to the right.
Well, it does. It takes about a half a length extra because of the size of the committee boat and the anchor line compared to the size of the pin. But that half a length, was not enough for Team New Zealand to cross there.
So no dial-up, coming up to 3.5 minutes to the start. Team New Zealand going down to leeward. So at this stage, they're 150 meters into the box. It's Alinghi now in the leeward position as both boats going through the circle.
PJ, they are circling once again today because of the better conditions. The waves, the size of the waves, and the difficulty of doing turns the other day kept them out of it when the wind was stronger. But now they're back into the more traditional role of circling around. Russell Coutts likes to be behind in the circle and aft of the other boat to give himself the ability to lead back to the line if he thinks the timing is right, or to go out and tack and come pushing in when that other boat turns back.
They are going a long way deep into the box. Both boats on port. Here's Team New Zealand turning, coming up 240 to the start.
And you see immediately that Alinghi turns up, meaning that they want to control the right-hand side off the starting line. Team New Zealand now will be very unlikely to be able to get the right off the line. We'll find out if that's a good or a bad call, but that's where it is right now. Team New Zealand takes it back towards Alinghi here. You got to try and keep the boats close to minimize any advantage that one boat might have over the other off the line. You'll see Team New Zealand tack back here shortly. 2 minutes to go. It looks to me like they've got about 45 seconds to kill, maybe slightly more. Alinghi slowing down, trying to gain some gauge to windward again. Has all the appearances to me that Coutts wants to start to the wide right side or in a position like you see right now off the line.
They're about 120 meters back from the line. Alinghi. Both boats killing time here at 1 minute 30 to the start. It's like a dragonfly's tea party above race control with helicopters everywhere, deafening noise. 120 to the start. Team New Zealand down to leeward. Alinghi to windward. They are killing time. They've got to kill about 40 seconds here. 14.5 knots from 27. Coming up to the final minute.
And Alinghi doing a nice job of just keeping the gauge up to windward there. If they start in this position, it'll be very difficult for Team New Zealand with Alinghi having the starboard advantage. If Team New Zealand can squeeze it up a little closer, they might be able to make it hard on Alinghi to live there and force them to tack off.
That's what Team New Zealand are going to do. They're going to try and close the gauge in the final 45 seconds. They are just 50 meters back from the line. They've got to kill 30 seconds. So Team New Zealand have got to get up there, got to close the gauge up. They've got to get up underneath Alinghi. Alinghi in the starboard side at 30 seconds. Alinghi looking very strong out to the right. Now we hear the call for bow down. Parker has not brought the bow down yet. Coutts waiting for a bit. Here goes Team New Zealand coming down with the bow now. It's a slingshot start for race 5, America's Cup 2003. and 3 at 10 seconds to go. Team New Zealand down to Lewin at the head. Alinghi on the hip of Team New Zealand at 5, 3, 2, the start. Race 5, and Alinghi right over the top of Team New Zealand in the windward position. A super start by Alinghi right over the top of Team New Zealand. Now, the issue is gauge. Can Alinghi live there? Have they got enough gauge to windward? Can Team New Zealand squeeze them out?
Well, PJ, this is going to be about boat speed now. We're in a slight, and I emphasize slight, right-hand shift here. It's about 28 degrees, farthest right we've seen in the last 20 minutes or so. And nice pressure. We have 14 knots, 14 and a half knots. So the boats are going to go into boat speed mode now, trying to just outperform each other in very subtle ways.
Yeah.
That was an interesting start because both boats kind of wanted the side that they got. They didn't fight any harder to get over to one side or the other. They both wanted what they got. But you see Alinghi out with an early lead there, 17 meters. That almost completely was made up by their slightly better position at 0. They were very close to the line where Team New Zealand was about a half to 2/3 of a length back. Just by nature of their position, they started a little bit later getting going and a little bit more conservative. So now it's all boat speed.
Again, Alinghi right on the button. They had the right. So now it's a drag race. This is the trial of strength. Both boats on starboard, both dragging out to the left. 13 knots from 30 degrees, clicking back to the right a fraction. Alinghi is living there. Team New Zealand not closing the gauge. My hunch is that Team New Zealand will be sailing lower in this trial of strength. Meanwhile, Alinghi looks to be sailing a notch higher.
Yeah, Peter, Alinghi does look very comfortable, but we don't know yet what the forward speed of Team New Zealand is going to do for them in the long run. But it seems since they started that Alinghi has become more comfortable in their position. And they don't look like they're under much threat to be forced to tack in the near future anyway.
Well, Alinghi's definitely living there, no doubt about it. They are comfortable on the hip of Team New Zealand at 28 meters, and Alinghi is extending all the time. They're living and they're starting to get right over the top of Team New Zealand.
Targets are good, Daggy. Maybe a click it faster at times.
Peter, you hear a little bit of the onboard sound, just encouraging the helmsmen on both boats of how they're going against each other. Team New Zealand in a difficult position down here because they have quite a bit forward to gain. If they couldn't have started off the line in a position to make Alinghi tack fairly soon, now they have a big road, I guess, or a big mountain to climb to get around in front of Alinghi, and especially since Alinghi seems to have made the early gain in forward speed.
Well, Team New Zealand, by not going into the dial-up, did have the chance to go right. I reckon their positioning indicated they wanted to go left anyway.
Well, that's what it looked like at about 1:30. It looked like Team New Zealand was happy left, Alinghi was happy right. But, you know, in these steady conditions, if you get that right-hand spot and you can hang on to it, and you see the gauge between the boats there is a fair amount. It's 4 boat lengths or so. And if you can hang into that position to windward, you can block your competitor all the way to the edge of the course and eliminate his ability to pass you.
I reckon going back even earlier than that, around 4 minutes out to 3:30, it looked like Team New Zealand wanted the left. It's 30-metre advantage to Alinghi, who do seem to be pointing just a fraction higher. Team New Zealand seem to be a fraction bow down.
Still same. We're just a little
but it's Alinghi who are leading by a boat length. Brad Butterworth right in the middle of the boat, in a brilliant position. On the boat, I mean, looking straight down with Ernesto Bertarelli, navigator, and syndicate boss right alongside him.
And in this situation, Peter,
a little higher, a little quicker than that.
Yeah, a little higher, a little quicker. That sums up what Alinghi think.
well, in this situation, I was going to say Brad is Russell's eyes, and there you see another slight gain for Alinghi, but Brad is just continually feeding Russell information about how he's going, and Coots is concentrating completely on how the boat feels and talking to his trimmers about what he needs.
So they're talking about we'll go Simo This is when Team New Zealand tack.
Very steady.
Because Alinghi now has got control of this race in the early stages of leg number 1.
Well, and this is the time in the race, Peter, where as Team New Zealand, you have to say, okay, I need to cut my losses here. Just listening in, we're on Team New Zealand, you're thinking, all right, we're not gaining here, we're not winning, we're not going to pass them by the corner of the race course. We need to consider some other options, perhaps start attacking duel. So that, Alinghi knows that, and they're now starting to plan for it.
Well, they're getting carted out to the left-hand side of the course, and you can see that virtual spectator reinforces what we can see off North Star, that Alinghi is higher. Team New Zealand is sailing lower. That's their mode.
Yeah. See that one boat just on our forestay there? Looks like he's in good pressure and maybe a little more left than what we have.
Still happy with this mode?
Leg 1,
Yes.
race 5 of the America's Cup. And Alinghi, as Peter Montgomery has been saying, pointing a little higher, a little faster out there in the early stages of race 1.
Key point off the starting line. Russell Coutts again showing that his time on distance in that last 30 seconds winding into the line was pinpoint accurate. When the gun went, Alinghi held about a 3/4 of a length advantage.
Don't like hearing that sound. There's some bad waves down there.
The waves on us. And Alinghi extending all the time here out to 40 metres. That was around 15 metres off the start line. That was the difference between Coutts' pinpoint accuracy and Team New Zealand's slightly more conservative start. And stretching out to the left-hand side of the leg here, Coutts and Butterworth will be more than happy just to keep sailing out to the side of the course, because the longer they go this way, the fewer attacking opportunities Team New Zealand will have presented to them as they come up towards the top mark.
Plan is we'd check Sinai, but we'd come back and we sort of wouldn't let him go too far left, just in case it did.
Speed build, yeah.
That's the strategy. If Team New Zealand tack, they're going to tack with them. Action getting right out towards, 3/4 of the way out towards the port-hand ley line. But what's interesting to me here is the different modes or the different ways the two crews are sailing their boats. And Team New Zealand using the bow down, slightly faster mode, slightly higher boat speed, but not pointing quite as high into the wind or towards the top mark, versus Alinghi sailing a higher mode, but giving themselves the opportunity to push forward. If you ask a yachtsman, what mode would you prefer? It's always off the starting line, the ability to sail higher, equal speed with the opposition, and then as time unfolds, it gives the boat in Alinghi's position the ability to go slightly bow down and roll over the top of Team New Zealand. And Team New Zealand right now, their tactical options are becoming a little bit limited as they work their way out to the port-hand ley line.
More 10-1s, Daggy.
Little gain engaged for us in the last minute.
So Adam Bischel
Little pressure on your bow.
calling a slight gain to NZL 82. There it is, a couple of metres, but every little bit counts. One of the things that's been working well for Alinghi, as Brad Butterworth calls that their opening range a little bit at the moment,
A little bit, same speed.
is the breeze has actually gone right a bit since the start, 4 or 5 degrees, and that is
Very right hand.
And that's it, Murray Jones saying exactly that, very right hand. Now that is clearly to the advantage of Alinghi as Team New Zealand comes into attack. Watch Alinghi tacking immediately on top of them with this right-hand breeze. Alinghi will protect the right-hand side. Team New Zealand will be forced to tack away again very quickly to clear their air. In fact, there they go. Dean Barker turning the boat through the tack.
Double tack for Team New Zealand. The second tack is what we call a down speed
Good
tack.
speed build here, guys.
The New Zealand boat would have not been up to its target boat speed, but needed to get out of that position,
After these waves.
allowing Alinghi just to extend out onto port to further extend and protect the right-hand advantage. Alinghi tacking. Now, Alinghi would have actually been right up to target speed before they tacked, and that's reflected in another small gain to Alinghi over Team New Zealand.
What are the times now, Nesto? Yeah, particularly.
5 and 7. 5 and 7. Yeah. 5 this way, 7 the other.
There we go. Go protect the side, Bill.
It's a nice.
Murray Jones, a very telling comment. We've got to protect the side, Bill. Bill, of course, being Brad Butterworth's nickname.
Anywhere from here is good.
So watch Alinghi tack right in Team New Zealand's face, force them to tack away again. And here they go, as expected. Alinghi tacking on top of Team New Zealand's ear. Team New Zealand will tack immediately back onto starboard. Alinghi will get up to target speed, around 10 knots of boat speed in these conditions, and come back. And the thing that's so impressive about Alinghi is they just keep the game close.
Hear them talking about when's the ideal time to tack. Not yet. Wait for the waves to go. Okay, any time from here. Now's a good time. Away they go. Doing it well.
Picking the time when you're going to tack in relation to the waves, the helmsman's always looking for a flat piece of water. You don't want to tack and then bash into a wave, but we can see there now that Team New Zealand have tacked reasonably thin on the hip of Alinghi. Now, tactically, Alinghi has shown the characteristic of being able to point a little bit higher. So, in that lured position, we will now see whether Alinghi can actually reduce the gauge between Team New Zealand from that lured position and come up in front.
Showing a lot of right hand here.
Talking right-hand shift, the wind direction is going from to the right, so from left to right, and that will favour Alinghi.
Steady at this pressure.
A little more trim. Yeah, hold that. Quite fine angles up high here.
So the breeze has gone 5 degrees right so far up this leg, and by virtue of being on the right-hand side, Alinghi has been able to step out of it, and there we see opened out even further. It's a 3-length advantage now.
Really fine angles up high, Mike.
It's Tony Ray talking to Mike Drummond about the wind
Pressure
gear.
here at 4.
As Adam Bieshel pulls more wind speed coming on to Team New Zealand, and the breeze does look to be up a bit more than what they had at around the start.
Glenn, looking at that shot, Alinghi looks to be higher, so her bow is pointing more to the left-hand side of the screen, pointing higher. Alinghi showing better boat speed on this upwind leg. Now, that's a good illustration there. You can see the subtlety of how Alinghi just looks to be pointing a little bit more to the left, which is closer to the wind.
Still like header up high, eh?
Still what? Head up.
Sort of like header up high. We don't think it's
And that has been so consistent through this America's Cup. Alinghi having the ability to sail higher, closer to the wind, and we often trade off.
Even a touch of pressure to the left of the top mark.
We often trade off speed to go faster and lower, or higher and a bit slower. But Alinghi seems to me has faster what we call velocity made good towards the mark they're heading to by sailing high at about the same speed. Very even, 70 metres.
And when you have the ability to sail higher, if in fact you get into a situation where the wind direction goes your way, you can actually also take the fast mode, or so you can sail a little bit deeper, ease your sails out a little bit more, and track over the top of the boat to leeward. And that's what we saw Alinghi do off the line. They came off the line, 5 degrees wind shift to the right, but they took the game directly ahead by just sailing a slightly faster number than Team New Zealand. Now, Alinghi in the leeward position will be sailing the mode to come up underneath Team New Zealand. The New Zealand boat does not seem to be able to point as high as Alinghi.
That shot just says it all. That aerial shot there from behind, you could see Alinghi sailing almost around the bow of NZL 82. And that is certainly not something Dean Barker will be enjoying. And that's the other shot there. NZL 82 sailing a bit lower. They need to find another gear if they're to get around Alinghi in this race. 2/3 of the way up. Leg number 1. Alinghi in control by 3 boat lengths.
Not yet, but close.
Just a wave here. That's it, flat water.
Going nicely, guys. Going nicely. Little lift here. Very high. Average heading, really.
Little lighter here.
Slightly effective there, eh? You might be slightly effective there. Just still going a little higher. Yeah.
Little breeze coming back here in 3.
Looks like we're getting it before.
Pretty good numbers across here, Bishan. Just this header.
Touch soft here for 15, then coming back a little.
Let's say 2.5, and then look.
Little lighter here.
Little header here for us. Time zone and stuff.
Same angle as us.
2 this way, 4 the other. Tell us when we get to a minute, mate, because we will roll in probably. Really
Staying
nicely
light.
we are. Still got it before him.
Still in control. Heading up towards mark number 1 with the iconic Sky Tower in the middle of Auckland City, framed against the back of Team New Zealand's mainsail. And that picture says it all, really. Alinghi higher and a click quicker
Average pressure here for the next
than
minute.
NZL 82. They've managed to come up onto NZL 82's line.
Waves just here.
And that is reflected with virtual spectator there. 3 lengths the advantage. There has been a right-hand wind shift, which has favoured Alinghi,
A little softer. Still think there's a bit better pressure in the
but they
leg.
do appear just to have the slightest bit of speed and height on Team New Zealand.
Yeah, we can go.
We did hear, though, before the break, Peter, that Adam Bishan, I think, talking about should be a lefty up by the mark. A wee way to go before then, but this is a comfortable position, isn't it, for Alinghi at the moment?
Oh, absolutely, and it's dramatic how much Alinghi has gauged right into Team New Zealand. They've come from being... Team New Zealand were quite comfortable. Now, here we go, Alinghi tacking, but getting back, Team New Zealand were happily placed up on the weather side of Alinghi, but in the end, Alinghi just higher and faster, and this has opened up now that Team New Zealand actually tactically had to tack to leeward of Alinghi because they're getting out towards the starboard ley line.
Only got about 20 seconds on the other one.
And
But the question will be asked by viewers now, why can't Team New Zealand point higher, as high as Alinghi?
well, it'll be the package and the moding of the boat. It'll come down to the sails, the rig, and the rig on Alinghi, I think, has been a real highlight of their package. It is their sail package, their mast package, but of course the Alinghi vertical foil is a little bit bigger than the one on Team New Zealand, as we saw when it was unveiled, and it just gives them a little bit more grip.
Take a little more trim on. Hold that.
Team New Zealand then in the trailing position, leg 1 of the America's Cup. And that Alinghi, as Peter Lester says, PJ, that Alinghi package looking fantastic again.
Well, it's a magnificent day today. This is the sort of day that we would expect in February and March here on the Hauraki Gulf. It's currently 14.1 knots, but 13 to 15 knots, a very easy seaway. And in these mid-range conditions, Alinghi is just simply lifting off the blackbone.
Well, we've seen that most of this beat, Peter. It was just a slight little advantage to Alinghi, but when you start out a half a length ahead, and then you gain a half a length in 10 minutes of sailing, and then Team New Zealand, because of their position behind, has had to sail 2 extra tacks to tactically position themselves in a smart place. And now, we've actually, in the last 3 or 4 minutes, we've seen the breeze shift over to the right another 5 degrees, so a total of 10 degrees since the start. So all of those things have given Alinghi a 3-boat length lead. And, you know, it's not a lot. There's not a lot in it between the boats. But Alinghi's certainly making the most of it and has positioned themselves very strongly.
And extended out to 90 meters. When Russell Coutts and his key tight 5 met with the designers for the first time, Russell Coutts told Rolf Frolick and Grant Simmer, the head of the design coordination, he wanted a boat that was fast to windward, that was easily maneuverable, and was not off the wall, that didn't have any special features unless it could be absolutely categorically proved it would be faster. And so you hear illustrious designers like Bruce Farr and Laurie Davidson and so many others say, well, hey, Alinghi is nothing special, but in the end, it's a special package put together for the sailors to work with, and we can see what they've got today.
Well, Pete, I think we've said these things before, but you know, the thing that wins races over and over again is doing the simple things right. And if you do all of the simple things correctly, and someone else gets one of those basics wrong, it's going to be a lot easier for you to win the race. And that seems to be what Alinghi's been doing all along here, is just, you know, they don't have anything particularly outrageous in their boat, but it does what they need it to do when they need it. And one thing that, you know, a lot of people don't realize is that it's very easy when you're testing these boats and doing tank testing and so forth. It's easy to get led down a path of a very narrow range of conditions that your boat can function well in. And Alinghi seems to have avoided that to a certain extent, to where they can actually go well in most conditions. They have a little deficiency downwind occasionally, but it doesn't always seem to show up. But the fact is, if you're ahead at the windward mark, it's a lot easier to defend downwind than it is to pass downwind.
And as Peter Lester also touched on, the rig innovations on Alinghi have been outstanding. So we're getting very close here to Mark 1, race 5 in America's Cup 2003, and the yacht that is on match point, Alinghi, leads here at the end of the first leg of 6 after winning the start, capitalizing on that in the first 10 minutes, putting higher and lifting off. Here goes Alinghi on the as they come to the top mark, getting ready for the hoist.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, mine.
It's at least 4, maybe 5 boat lengths that Alinghi has stretched out over Team New Zealand. And that'll be comfortable for Alinghi to defeat. Mark 1, race 5. And the immediate clock ticking away against Team New Zealand.
Oh, there.
And at the end of the first beat, Team New Zealand Brown
would have put that at about 20 or 21 seconds, Peter.
It'll be something 2021. The clock has not stopped, so we kept running over 30, and we know they're not 30 seconds behind. Up goes the SAP Spinnaker on Team New Zealand.
Brings in the cleat.
Alinghi comfortable, 4 boat lengths at least, both with the symmetrical spinnakers up. So very hard here for Team New Zealand to try and get on the wind, block the air coming down on Alinghi. Alinghi far enough advanced.
And Peter, both boats realizing they got just a little bit of sea out there. You see the wave on the bow of Team New Zealand, and they can pump the main in and out and help to add a little bit of horsepower, like right now, you pull right now on the main, and the boat surges forward a little bit. So both boats doing that. You see the mains moving aggressively in and out. Once again, this is going to be a boat speed race down this run.
Run square to 30, so it's 10-degree bias here.
Dean Phipps on the bow.
Just same with him.
Of Alinghi,
We're just
set
slightly
to
below
record
his
his
line.
15th successive win unbeaten in America's Cup racing. Phipps was on the bow of Team New Zealand in 95-2000. Phipps
Just coming into the new pressure. He's
is set to be joined if they hold this position with Brad Butterworth, tactician,
a little higher we are. Just
Warwick
evening
Fleury,
up now.
Murray Jones and Simon Daubney, all are already on 14 wins unbeaten in America's Cup racing.
Should get better for us, breeze-wise. Same since the top mark.
Stay with you here.
Nice, here we go. Keeping it low is good for the pressure.
So we're 4.7 1 to 1 then? Yeah. It's square 4.7 and then
He's just like a beam length inside us, that's all.
1 to 1 out of it.
It's good pressure coming down here. Here it comes. Nice puff.
No, we do force it.
Nice.
4.7 1.
That's good though. Managed to stay quite close to his line.
Hold back.
We're a little puffer. We're a little quicker. We're a little quicker. Yes, we're a little quicker we are at the moment.
Thanks, Richard.
They just rolled us in front of him again.
8 and 7.
Should be the shot. Yes, it is.
Take it on the top. Take it on the top.
Fast take up, just give it a pull. There's a little puff coming. Nice.
Okay, I'm bringing.
You're going straight, are we good?
We're right at the moment. We'll be happy, yeah. We'll be happy to just keep going straight at the moment.
So we're on to leg 2 now of this 5th race of the America's Cup. The official margin, we understand, 21 seconds at the first mark. So Alinghi in front, having had control from the start, with Russell Coutts again spot on at the start line. They got the right-hand shift that gave them a bit more of an advantage, and that there is the gap they have. 21 seconds at the first mark.
Alinghi absolutely nailed the start and then continued to take that advantage and capitalise on it, like converting the try. So Alinghi in the lead, Team New Zealand behind with the SAP Spinnaker setting themselves up in the slightly leeward position for after the jibe to again put themselves in a position to put the turbulent wind down onto Alinghi. Brad Butterworth. Now, one thing here that's noticeable is how hard the Alinghi crew are working in this northeasterly condition on the downwind leg to try and promote the boat on a wave to serve. And we see it that when the boat starts to lurch forward on a wave, the main sheet comes on. It's actually ground on by the grinders, with Warwick Fleury pulling hard on the main sheet just to try and initially give the boat a little bit more of inertia to go down a wave And if we remember from race 4, they got one big wave at the top mark, and it was a boat length and a half advantage, but they certainly worked hard on their trimming technique on the downwind legs.
Any bit of staying team's good pressure at the moment.
We're also hearing exactly the same thing coming off NZL 82, Peter, with Tony Ray, the mainsail trimmer, calling to his grinders.
Ready? Another one coming in. Ready? And go, mate.
There it is there, Tony Ray calling go main, pumping it on. The margin around 100 metres, so it's a 4 boat length advantage to Alinghi, and Team New Zealand seems to be holding them okay on this run. As Alinghi goes through a jibe, Team New Zealand jibing simultaneously. They'll be trying to get on top of their air as they come out onto the new jibe. The spinnaker pole goes through. Good jibe from both boats. Grinders winding away on those handles to pull the spinnaker brace back. And there it is, Team New Zealand trying to get onto the air of Alinghi. With disturbed air coming down around that area there. So they're not far off getting onto Alinghi's air.
Glenn, that was a good jibe by Team New Zealand. Previous races, Alinghi, their class of jibing has been good, but this particular jibe, Team New Zealand got the jump. They did the jibe, the spinnaker was filling and drawing and powering the boat up slightly quicker than Alinghi, and we can see now that has thrown, or created the opportunity for Team New Zealand to just get a little bit of roll on and to grab Brad Butterworth's attention. Nice work, Team New Zealand.
A little faster, a little lower.
Stick it down here.
When we hear Brad Butterworth, he's always talking about themselves. When he says a little faster, a little lower, he'll be talking about their relative performance against NZL 82. The stage is still 100 metres.
Yeah, still a little more to come, 40 away.
Looks like the drop line of the spinnaker is dragging in the water. They'll need to recover that before the bottom mark. Tony Ray calling his trimmers to grind on. And there it is there. The drop line has been recovered by Jeremy Lomas, the bowman. He'll pass that down the forward hatch. That's the view downstairs. On board Team New Zealand, what's called the SUI. That's the head sail that'll be used on the beat. And Team New Zealand closing the game up a bit here, perhaps a function of casting a little bit of disturbed air onto Alinghi. But it's good to see them attacking on this run and taking back a few gains from what they lost up that first beat.
That was a good jibe.
Quite a left shift.
It's a great mark we're going for.
Yeah, I think I found it.
Brad Butterworth asking the question, what do you think if he jives now?
Well, Brad Butterworth, what he's doing there, of course, he now is very much concentrating on Team New Zealand, as well as trying to identify the location of the bottom mark. So he's got a bit on his mind. He's looking down there, using his hand-bearing compass to get a bearing on the mark. Then back to the tactical function of boat on boat with Team New Zealand.
3 and 4 is sort of upwind. You can come down a bit. You're still popping out in front of them here.
When Brad says they're popping out in front, he means in front of their wind shadow. So they're comfortable that they've still got breeze from in front of NZL 82.
2 this way, 5 the other. Nah.
So with 2 and 5, we're definitely jibing this.
We definitely would be jibing with them.
Yeah.
So discussing the options.
Nice game here.
decision made. We'll jibe with them.
Yeah, I've got it. Okay. So we're definitely jibing with him, Jack, all right? Jack?
Jack, Team Pips, nicknamed the Bowman. Brad making sure that the foredeck crew know what's going to happen.
It's normal here. Two this way, four the other. They're ready.
So Alinghi,
Yeah.
after losing a little bit, has just managed to stretch out again, even, around 4 boat lengths.
Nice gain here. Going nicely.
Brad Butterworth knows it.
Nice. Yeah, good.
Working hard on the main, trimming hard.
Middle left for pressure.
Direction of the waves coming in from the northeasterly wind direction.
Sort of more middle.
Alinghi just sailing a slightly hotter angle to pop out in front of Team New Zealand. Team New Zealand with the SAP logo on the spinnaker. Butterworth taking another bearing on the bottom mark with a little hand bearing compass. You can see it flapping around his jibe coming. Who can do the best jibe? Again, the Team New Zealand jibe looks tidy. Alinghi tactically placed directly in front of Team New Zealand, but again, a good jibe by Team New Zealand. We can see there the New Zealand spinnaker with the logo on it is full and drawing. Alinghi were just a little bit slow on the trim up after the jibe. So that'll be a big gain for Team New Zealand, directly attributed to good crew work on the New Zealand boat.
And that was at least a boat length. A good effort by the crew in the middle of Team New Zealand there, the grinders getting that spinnaker brace back. And that gave them a boat length down to 80 metres. And that was an uncharacteristically poor jibe from Alinghi. It's not often we see them being out-jibed, but they certainly were on that occasion.
Yes. Copy that.
I'm out. I'm out too. Yeah.
Yes, very good crew work by Team New Zealand. Brad Butterworth said, we, meaning Alinghi, have dropped a length and a half there. You notice the body language of Russell Cooch, he's not Mike. But boy, we certainly got the impression
It's about a minute the other way.
that was not a good jibe by Alinghi. And their skipper let them know,
Lower than him, same speed.
as well as other discussion in the afterguard. So that does give Team New Zealand a chance
It's about a minute,
to try and get on the air.
Minute and a half the other way, Curtis.
So talking about Curtis Blewett, he's in the foredeck with Alinghi.
Oh, trying to give those guys an idea of how long on the new tack, Peter, so that they understand how much time they have to set up and get the Genoa up. You know, first thing they have to do is get the pole across, and then the jib goes up. So you try to give your foredeck team a bit of an idea so that they can be prepared. Anything more than a minute, it should be plenty of time.
Curtis Blewett from Canada on the mid-foredeck for Alinghi, set to join an exclusive group of a dozen people. And Richard Bazade also aboard. Alinghi also set to join that group as past Whitbread winners.
Very good.
And America's Cup winners. They've still got to win this race, of course, but they are in the right spot. Out to 85 metres. Team New Zealand did close it down to 80 after a splendid jibe, as they're closing to the end of leg number 2 of 6.
Well, it's all about patience here, Peter. Team New Zealand has to realize that they don't have any ability, they don't have a strong position to fight with Alinghi for the rest of this leg. They just need to minimize any damage and get around the mark in a strong place and start attacking again. Alinghi knows that as well, and they're not concerned about what Team New Zealand. See, if Team New Zealand were to jibe twice right now, Alinghi would just go straight to the ley line and jibe back, and they would have gained, 2/3 or 3/4 of a length by doing that.
Nice there, just creeping down.
Because every time you turn the boat, you slow down a little bit. But Team New Zealand knows that. They're going to just hang in there.
We haven't got long to go this way, Russell. If he jibed, we'd have to jibe with him from now on in.
Okay, so Brad now changing the game so that Russell understands where he is on the race course. Basically, if they had to, they could jibe and make the mark from here. They're not on the perfect lay line, but they could lay, and they can't afford to have Team New Zealand cut the corner on them and block the wind.
We've got about 4 legs. That's a fine one there. Hold there.
Down to 80 metres. And this jibe will be crucial. Alinghi will know they have to get this next jibe perfect. Here goes Alinghi jibing. Now, how well do they do it? Because they just cannot allow Team New Zealand to get closer.
And Team New Zealand should be turning just about right now, I would expect. Just a comfortable position, not going beyond Alinghi's line. I'm a bit surprised that they haven't turned yet. Here they go, right on Alinghi's line. Now, to credit Alinghi, to give them, you know, a little bit of leniency here, every time you jibe across the wind of the trailing boat, the lead boat here, which is Alinghi, obviously, it, you know, has to sail through the wind shadow, and that makes it harder to get the jibes done well. But that one was much better than the previous off of Alinghi, and now both teams on the final approach to the bottom mark.
So within a couple of 100 metres now, and the head sail on Alinghi is being hoisted. They have a 92-metre advantage over Team New Zealand as they close to the end of leg number 2, or the first windward lure.
And part of that advantage is that Team New Zealand did sail a little far beyond the turning line of Alinghi. And if Alinghi is on a comfortable, normal lay line, then Alinghi has wasted a little, excuse me, Team New Zealand may have wasted a little bit of distance.
That's Matt Mitchell in the hatch of Team New Zealand.
Where's the tag with him, mate?
So the call from Alinghi is keep with the mate, meaning whatever Team New Zealand do and tack.
It's working, go!
Then Alinghi will go with them. Murray Jones up on the bow. Mark II, America's Cup 2003, race 5.
Okay, here we go.
It was 21 seconds at the last mark.
Okay, Rob.
Pull away, pull away.
Down comes the pole on Team New Zealand, and the immediate clock clicks off at 18 seconds. So it is a gain of 3 seconds to Team New Zealand. Now, it'll be fascinating to see whether Team New Zealand start taking it to them. Beautiful conditions, 13.5, 14 knots.
Well, they will, Peter. They'll just get cleaned up and on full speed, and then they'll tap.
Here they are now, right now. Very steady breeze, right. Immediately Alinghi goes with them. Now, we'll see whether or not Team New Zealand take it at low speed tacks and try and make inroads into Alinghi.
Well, they only have to sail another 2 or 3 lengths at most to get up to full speed. They're just about there now. See the final trim going on. Everybody working that last little bit of sheet coming in. They're at speed now. Will Team New Zealand tack back here?
Surely they've got to go.
Out?
They've got to go.
Well, you want to position yourself in the center of the race course. Team New Zealand did a nice job of that on the first beat. They sailed until they were in the middle of the course, and then they started tacking.
Yeah, I'll get.
And what that does is gives you just more options for splitting with your competitor.
Good numbers, Daggy, good numbers.
Right now, they're in a little bit of a left-hand shift.
Good numbers, talking to James Dagg, trimmer.
And we've seen the wind shift over to 20 degrees. Here goes Team New Zealand.
The Team New Zealand tacked for the second time. And immediately Alinghi goes with them. Absolutely. Now, surely Team New Zealand will tack back, low speed tack. They'll start to break. Surely they're going to break the top.
This is a little stronger position for Alinghi, so Team New Zealand can't really afford to get up to completely
Here
full
they go.
speed.
Team New Zealand breaking. Breaking right. Alinghi holding on still. Here comes Alinghi back as well.
Push on. Yeah, okay.
Here goes Team New Zealand coming back. As Alinghi holding on to port.
An interesting time there because on Alinghi, they had the top mast backstay had just been removed and was being carried forward, passed from guy to guy. And if they attacked right there, they were going to be down a grinder. So it looks like they chose to hold on.
Why can't we put the top mast forward?
Bring it forward. Yeah. So heaps of people there.
There goes the other side. The top mast coming forward.
It's a nice little lift here.
That just gets the windage down. That's the backstay that goes all the way to the very top of the mast. And you don't need it upwind. You have to have it downwind so the mast won't fall down. But upwind, the mainsail keeps the pressure on the top of the mast. And now we see Team New Zealand has successfully started a split.
Yeah, I agree.
They have clear air, and they can go the way they want. Now, which way will the wind shift? Right now, it's slowly shifting back to the right.
Tacking here, guys.
Here goes Alinghi tacking.
Okay, in the second.
We're just back to 24 degrees. The maximum left was 20. The maximum right on the first beat was 42, which was a fairly significant shift at the top of the leg. But it was only for the last 2 or 3 minutes of the leg. And you see there's a gain by Team New Zealand because of their positioning on these tacks. Short-term gain. Let's see if they can get a little shift and gain another half a length and bring it back to Alinghi.
Could be a touch of left hand in this next pressure, Bertrand.
So that's the voice of Adam Beechel talking to Bertrand Passe, tactician. That's the point. If Team New Zealand can get under 50 metres and keep it there at the top mark, then they really do give themselves a chance to attack on the downhill slide.
Yeah, they've got to be inside 20 seconds down these runs. Inside 15 would be optimal.
Good numbers, Daggy.
It's just that targets to 1 to 2 over at times
So
are good.
Team New Zealand are holding on. They've elected not to get more into attacking, Jules.
Yeah.
There's a big gauge here.
Well, and right now they're gaining, Peter. It looks like it's down to about 2 boat lengths from the distance between the boats. There it is right there, the crosswind line. We'll see. Looks closer for Team New Zealand. There's 2 lengths. That's as close as they've been in a long time. Now, do they wait and try for more, or do they take and consolidate this little gain now? If they wait, they do take a risk that the wind could shift back to the right and all that gain could
9 this way,
evaporate.
7 the other. Going nicely. Same jib. Same jib. Same there.
Go rather a spank.
Yeah, it's actually a nice right shift at the moment. Just cruising forward, same height. Just cruising forward, same height at that number. Yeah, that's because we lifted. What are the times now?
Times are 8 and 6.
8 this way, 6 the other. If it goes to 20, if it goes to 20, I think they'll be even. We'd like 4 this way and 7
For 20 will be 5 and 9.
5 this way, 20 and 9 the other at 20.
Right now 8 and 6.
Just nice and steady here. Come into a little more pressure in general here.
Wait, we're on, okay. Now wait.
I think it's evening up a little more now, but
Yep. I'm out there, Tom.
No change in the positions. Both boats still on starboard tack. In perfect conditions, about 15 knots of wind.
For a green mark.
Good sea state. We heard coming off Alinghi the target speed of 10.2 knots, so that's the boat speed they're doing. And Alinghi out to 81 metres advantage in the windward position.
Still okay here, Bisho?
Yeah, it's evened out a little
Adam
more
Bishop.
here.
Yeah.
Directly behind both yachts, we can see the
Seems
umpire
like a
boats
10th
trailing.
He's good.
Yeah.
Just watching
Another little
proceedings.
build here in 15.
6 and 6.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
On board observer for NZL 82 is John Stanley, an Australian.
Touch of pressure building
And
on your
on
bow.
board,
Gonna be a click quicker.
SUI 64
I think
is
we've got to just
Gerard
stay the
Bosset
same.
of
Try to more of
France.
a breeze thing.
Yep.
Bit of weed on your bow there. Clear that.
So Adam Bishop, these northeasterly conditions in the Hauraki Gulf, anyone that's been swimming on the North Shore beaches knows that when the wind's from this direction, you get a lot of seaweed. It gets chopped up from the bottom, especially after that rough weather of the last few days. And when you get weed around the keel or the rudder, it creates a lot of drag and it slows the boat down. So every now and then, we hear the crew talk about spank the keel or spank the rudder. And that's where they run a little knife down the leading edge to cut away any weed that gets caught around the coils.
Clean observation there from Butterworth, talking about the relative performance between Alinghi and Team New Zealand, and he's making the comment that the New Zealand boat does not like the waves. The observation is that each time they hit a wave, they're not able to match the speed of Alinghi. Now that could be a function of several things: the long bowl, slightly smaller fin, but it does appear as though Alinghi has a speed advantage in this condition.
I think our statistics show throughout the Louis Vuitton Cup that in these conditions, Alinghi, I don't think, lost a race.
Him up here. Take a little bit.
Of course, through the Louis Vuitton Cup, they only lost 2 races, 1 to One World, 2 to Oracle.
.90 metres, the advantage to Alinghi up in the windward position, looking very comfortable.
Maybe wait 10 here.
Russell Coots getting a lot of very positive feedback from his afterguard, telling him they're doing well. And that is not a bit of ego massage. It is so important for Russell Coots to assist him to know what mode to sail the boat in, whether he needs to sail a bit higher and slower or lower and faster. But the feedback he's getting is that they're sailing in a good mode as Team New Zealand goes into attack, bringing the action back into the middle of the course. Look for Alinghi to tack on their air here. It would seem the right-hand side's pegged a little bit again.
Okay, trim it up. Here we go.
Tony Ray calling the trimmers to wind his main sheet in as the boat gets up to target speed. 95 metres, nearly 4 lengths the advantage to Alinghi. As Russell Coots gently turns the wheel, eases the boat into the eye of the wind, and they come round and slam straight on top of Team New Zealand's air. They will not be able to stay there, and there they go, tacking away again to clear their air. Alinghi protecting the favoured right-hand side of the course.
2 reasons to protect the right. One is the wind direction has been just tending to shift to the right a little bit, but probably more importantly, it's the protecting the right because of the right-hand turn at the top mark, or the starboard turn.
7 this way, 2 the other.
7 minutes to sail on port tack. The tack that Alinghi are on now.
Still going.
And 2 minutes to sail on starboard tack. The tack that Team New Zealand were on.
Yeah, it is high. Yep, that is high. That's as high as we've ever been on this tack.
Indicating a left-hand shift for Alinghi.
Just be careful, it doesn't keep going, that's all. green mark, all right?
So Team New Zealand coming through a attack now. An interesting comment from Brad Butterworth there, saying they're as high as they've been on Port Tack in this race.
Just worried there's a puff on our left.
You're worried about that?
No.
Should go over.
Yeah, I'll just wait for this.
Wait for that one on the bow.
Yeah.
So a little header.
So Murray Jones
You could
concerned
almost go here and we'd
that
be
there's
in
better pressure to the left.
Let's
The
go
whole
here, right?
time they're
Oh, it's gone
talking
left.
about when should we take it back. Murray Jones just calling a bit more breeze on the bow.
It's the same. We could go here.
We can go over.
Yeah. Pick a flat spot though.
The communication is just so impressive.
Well-oiled
On the
machine.
Alinghi.
It's an absolute well-oiled machine in the back end of Alinghi. Murray talking about finding a flat spot, assisting Russell Coots so that the boat does not tack and then smash into a wave. That is, if you can tack the boat in a flat spot and not hinder the performance, the target speed will jump back after the tack nice and quickly. Team New Zealand continuing on Port Tack. Now, what I'll be looking for here is they get 2/3 of the way up this second windward beat. Look out for Russell Coots and Butterworth putting Team New Zealand in a situation where they've got to do 1 or 2 extra tacks than Team New Zealand. We saw it on the first beat, that positioning as you get towards the top mark, the leading boat wants to make the trailing boat do extra tacks. And that, of course, will extend the lead for the leading boats. So, 2/3 up the second windward beat. Alinghi leads by about 90 metres over Team New Zealand.
Oh, there it is. Got the mark. Mark's just to the right of the tool shelf.
Top mast. Dom.
Yeah.
Dom. Top mast.
The wind absolutely steady, 27 degrees at 14 knots. A beautiful day for a mid-range test. And Alinghi capitalising on their splendid start. Just a notch higher and But the audio coming off the black boat indicates they have not given up.
Pretty steady for a little while.
They're still trying to keep the game tight as they close to the halfway mark 3
Visibly longer the other way.
to complete the second beat.
Just crossing his bow here.
Crossing his bow there,
Little header.
and that looks like to me off North Star around 4 boat lengths.
Yeah, PJ, basically the distance between the boats has stayed identical. There was a chance there, you know, halfway up the beat that Team New Zealand got within 50 meters, and, you know, as we said at the time, they could have consolidated that or gone for a little more, you know, and the problem, of course, is always knowing whether a little more is coming. And they waited, hoping, I guess, that there might be a little more lefty, and it didn't happen, and suddenly it was back to 80 meters again. And that's where it sits now. Interesting, though, what Pete Lester was saying is absolutely spot on, that what you do in Alinghi's situation is you just sort of gently herd Team New Zealand out to the right-hand side of the screen there, which is the left-hand side of the race course. And as you get close to that lay line, eventually you make them tack 2 extra times. You see how close they are to the left-hand side of the racetrack. So Alinghi, I look to them to take a chance back here in the next, I don't know, 4 or 5 lengths. And push that last time Team New Zealand out to the corner of the course. And eventually Team New Zealand will have to tack twice. There goes Alinghi tacking. You see the 90 meters advantage is still pretty similar. Once the tack is over, it'll go down to about 80.
But the Team New Zealand tacking twice off pushed about over 104 boat lengths. And be comfortable going downhill under spinnaker as they were in leg number 2.
Well, what you do is you just take your time and you slowly set yourself up in position so that you can get that extra 2 boat lengths right at the end. There. Here goes Alinghi tacking in a classic position, knowing that they're still 2 tacks away from the corner of the racetrack on the left. Team New Zealand has to tack and get clear. Now Team New Zealand has got to make a choice. Do they go part way to lay line and tack back, or do they go all the way to lay line, which is only about 3 lengths farther? And there you see that the distance is down. But that's because Team New Zealand has 1 more tack to get equal with Alinghi. 50 meters, you know, it looks good temporarily, and here comes Team New Zealand tacking back shy. They're going to tack early. So now Alinghi has a choice to make. Do they go to the right-hand lay line and let Team New Zealand stay where they are? Or do they take 2 more tacks and just thump Team New Zealand out to that left-hand corner, putting the nails in the coffin, basically?
Now, Team New Zealand tacking shy, at least they're trying to make things happen, and they're not being passive.
No, they're doing the right things. I mean, the Team New Zealand are doing a phenomenal job of positioning themselves where they are, but they do seem to have just that very slight little bit less overall speed than Alinghi. Alinghi seems to be able to turn it on when they need it and get that extra 5 meters every so often that they just need at that critical time. Now, as we saw on the first beat, the boats lined up like this. Team New Zealand did this positioning so that they try to tempt Alinghi into just staying on this tack. And that gives Team New Zealand an option of losing less as they go up the leg. But neither boat is leg. They both have to tack twice to get around the mark. So either way, Team New Zealand's going to have to tack 2 extra times than what Alinghi has on this leg, and that's going to be a long-term gain for Alinghi.
Still gaining here, we are. My little gains, making nice gains here.
Well, and that's Brad just talking about the difference between the boats. We saw it on the first beat that Alinghi was able to slightly outpoint Team New Zealand. And to my eye, what looks like it's getting ready to happen is that Alinghi's just going to hold in this position as long as they're gaining, they're happy. And they're going to go out near the right-hand side of the race course, tack about 3 or 4 lengths shy. See there on Virtual Spectator, they're going to tack about 3 or 4 lengths before they get to the right-hand corner, which is going to force Team New Zealand to make a choice whether to tack.
You're going to have time on the other tack.
You're red hallion at the topper. Just pull your red hallion forward, you'll be fine.
Look at that tack here.
Yep. Just trying to sort out their
We're going to tack, guys. We're going to tack. We're going to tack. Okay.
Sounds a little exciting, but they're just sorting out what's happening on the foredeck, making sure people are doing realizing what's going on. They'll be tacking here. Team New Zealand will probably tack underneath, which means in the next sort of 2 boat lengths, Team New Zealand will tack as well. The risk is if Team New Zealand goes past Alinghi, there's not much race course over there, and they'll have to do a harder maneuver at the mark rounding. Well, Team New Zealand looks like they may be opting to go on past.
Before and after the tack, okay? Set up for me.
If they do, they may have to go after the starboard lane.
So now they have to sail at least 2 boat lengths past Alinghi to get their air clear. And once they've done that, then they'll be very close to lay line. So when they come around the windward mark, they'll be doing a tack set, which is a little bit slower maneuver. And again, Alinghi just positioning themselves beautifully so that they can take advantage of the slight lead they have to stretch 5 meters here, 8 meters there.
They're slightly faded to port pole.
So here goes Team New Zealand now tacking. They are inside the starboard lane line. And we hear Brad Butterworth talking about a port pole. Meanwhile, it's wet on the bow for Dean Phipps, Curtis Blewett, and Francisco Rapetti. As Alinghi close to the top mark for the 2nd time, this is Mark 3, and the halfway mark of this race 5, America's Cup 2012. Now, the last mark, 2, Alinghi led by 18 seconds. So here goes the hoist from Alinghi as Team New Zealand go round the mark. And Team New Zealand have closed it down to 16 seconds, a gain of 2 seconds.
But Peter, that's going to be a short-term gain. It's going to be a little bit deceiving because right now, Alinghi is at full speed off and running, and Team New Zealand is still trying to re-accelerate after doing a tack set. They've got a bit of distance to gain until they get a bit of distance to go before they get up to full speed. So in essence, Alinghi has stretched out. There you see it, 100 meters. Alinghi has stretched out to their biggest gain of the race.
So it wasn't as though Team New Zealand coming in at pace on the port lay line. They did a tight turn.
So it made the time look shorter right around the mark, but in the long term, once they get going again, they actually have lost about 2/3 of a length because of Alinghi's good positioning. But one difference we see is that Team New Zealand, not giving up, as you say, and trying something different, have gone for an asymmetrical downwind sail. So they're looking for a little bit more, high-speed opportunity here, while Alinghi was looking for the maneuverability, and Alinghi has a symmetrical regular spinnaker, just like they had on the last run. And it looks to me like they're taking very different philosophies now, with Team New Zealand going for a higher angle and going for more speed.
Still lower than him.
Yep, there we hear the call from Brad.
Slower.
So the asymmetrical will help the angle up.
Yeah, Team New Zealand can sail a higher, hotter angle and get up into an area where they can maybe try to disturb the air on Alinghi. Alinghi can sail up that distance as well, but they won't do so as efficiently because of the shape of the sail.
But when it comes to maneuverability, the symmetrical is easier to jibe, more efficient.
Well, it has been historically, but it has gotten to the state these days where the teams are so good at jibing these A sails that there's really not much in it.
Pretty good. Here's one. Stand by on the main. And go main. Hold that.
Just average pressure here. Don't see that much difference either way for pressure at the moment.
This way, 60 over.
I think you've got to have it on, mate. Nice here, just going forward. Same angle. Nice puck just coming down to us here. 9 this way, 5 the other. If he jibe, you probably just go straight. Going straight, okay? Can't hear you. Really nice header here. Slightly more pressure building on that of our hip though. That's good there. Yeah, we gained plenty.
7 and 5.
Doubled our lead since the top mark. Left shift. Weird that left shift didn't come in. Yeah, we got it going here. He's driving, I'm happy just here. We were really headed.
Team New Zealand jibing onto starboard. First jibe since the top mark. Alinghi close to double their lead since the top mark, principally as a function of the tack set Team New Zealand had to do. It was around 70 metres when they went round the mark. Brad Butterworth discussing when Alinghi is going to jibe. At the moment they are headed.
Really good, it's above us, isn't it?
They're sailing on the favoured jibe still.
5 and 5. I'm out. Okay, 4-7, 4-7.
Alinghi appears to just have the legs on NZL 82, a little bit downwind. Interesting choice of downwind sails. Alinghi going for the symmetrical spinnaker. Team New Zealand for the A sail, the asymmetric spinnaker. Alinghi will be trying to decide when to jibe. They're right in the middle of the course now. The blue trail of Team New Zealand heading out on starboard jibe. And a very comfortable lead, 5 and a bit boat lengths by Alinghi. And I can't imagine Alinghi is going to let them split too far, Peter. It would be a bit of a change in tactics from them, but at the moment they feel like they're sailing on the favoured jibe. Brad's calling for the jibe. He feels they're starting to sail into lighter air.
Well, what's interesting there is that Alinghi were prepared to take the wind that was favoured on the left-hand side. So even though they are always very conservative and very measured, if they think there's a further gain to be made because of a change in wind direction, they're happy to extend it. But they're getting a little bit nervous there now and calling the jibe. Butterworth calling the jibe.
Right here.
Jibe complete, using a spinnaker. Symmetrical sail, the corners of the downwind sail of the spinnaker are the same. When we see Team New Zealand, they're using the Jenica. Now Team New Zealand coming back and the Jenica being jibed around the forestay. Sail turned inside out. And again, I'm impressed. The crew on Team New Zealand today, I think that they've stepped it up.
Yeah, very good.
Stepped it up, and they're doing the manoeuvres, especially their jibing. Marked improvement on race 3.
I just wondered at the time when there was that separation, what the separation is at the moment, but they're converging. That separation, Team New Zealand might have been just thinking, hey, this could be make or break here if Alinghi allows us to go away too much.
Well, they got out to 600 metres apart, but it has been a net gain to Alinghi. They gained by staying on the favoured port jibe. Team New Zealand effectively jibed away off the favoured jibe, and there it is, 138 metres.
The heading's good.
Simon Daubney, who trims upwind, trims the spinnaker brace downwind. All concentration, working with Richard Bezade, the spinnaker trimmer.
Mark 3, the lead was 16 seconds, and we saw that equated to about 70 or 80 metres advantage. But what happened, Team New Zealand had to do the harder manoeuvre, a delayed tack set, meaning that the boat loses some of its inertia and its momentum. Alinghi, quite quickly after the mark, doubled their lead. Now going back to the conservative game plan, jibing directly in front of Team New Zealand.
So what's the game plan for Team New Zealand from here, Glenn?
Wow. Alinghi appears to just have the slightest little speed edge on Team New Zealand in these conditions, which makes it very difficult for NZL 82 to attack. And looking there, it's 133 metres, so that's 5.5 lengths. And coming up, there's the bottom mark number 4 that they're heading towards. So their options for attacking are somewhat limited. It's a bit of a drag speed race.
We're just a little lower than him, just a smidgen lower, same speed.
So Brad Butterworth,
Nice puff on us to stay low, actually.
he's doing it easy at the moment, keeping a very close eye on Team New Zealand behind.
Just on our hip.
But so often we're hearing that he's calling it's a slight gain to Alinghi, and that certainly seems to be the case. They've nearly doubled their lead since mark number 3. Can they maintain that as they head towards mark number 4?
Yeah, I saw it just before. Green. Green. Yeah, it's just on the sailboat, the little sailboat, just behind it. Middle of the beach. Yeah. Nice gain here. Really nice gain. Got the wrong sail up, eh? Yeah, this is really nice breeze. Since we jive, we just gone a little lower than him, same speed. He's going to jive, I think. To get it, keep it on, you know. I'm in. About 130 and 3. Could go. Russell, we could go here. It's a long way to fall.
Maximum more, I'd say.
Right here.
Yeah.
Right here.
Come on.
Let's get him on the break, guys. Go break. Come on, mate.
No miracles for Team New Zealand fans in the break. It's the same situation. Alinghi leading on this, the fourth leg. At the last mark, it was 16 seconds. And they have looked again so smooth. Team New Zealand's crew work has been very impressive today. They've done everything they can. But as we have a look at the margin now, there's quite a bit of separation there. Margin 160 metres. And Alinghi just doing it comfortably.
Alinghi have nailed this downwind leg. They've extended and extended, picked the wind shifts. The boat appears to just be going a little bit better under Spinnaker and Team New Zealand on a Jenica. It's the biggest margin we've seen. And certainly performance-wise, it's interesting. In theory, the boat with the Jenica on should have a speed advantage, but on this occasion, broken pole on Team New Zealand. Pole problem.
Snapped around the forestay. There's the bowman. Jeremy Lomas having to get it back. It looks like the brace didn't come on. Just more gear failure for Team New Zealand. This time perhaps human error. Looks like the pole might have gone around the headstay and just snapped in half.
Another major problem for Team New Zealand as they approach the mark number 4.
Yes, for a third race in 5, mechanical problems aboard Team New Zealand. And what slim chance they had of keeping the cup here in New Zealand has snapped with that Spinnaker pole as they've dipped it over the side. They must have a replacement one down below rather than Oracle with that brilliant sleeve. But really, we'd have to say that the symmetrical Spinnaker 1 didn't work anyway. They've conceded time. The interesting thing to me is Team New Zealand just didn't hop the angles up and sail to the numbers an A sail might give. And when you were sailing on the heading that Alinghi was dictating, the symmetrical spinnaker was better.
It's fine there.
Well, it certainly seemed, Peter, that early on looked like they might have had a chance, and Alinghi didn't bite. They just sailed their normal angles. Team New Zealand kind of faded down to the same angle as Alinghi, and as you say, it didn't work. They've also taken 2 more jives to get here, and which is another slight loss. And of course, the pole problem is another little disadvantage. Not going to be as efficient right here, so it's just all slowly going bad for Team New Zealand. They're on lay line now, jibing that last time.
And as they go through this jibe, 159, 160 meters will stretch out to 170 or so, as Team New Zealand are right in the jibe now.
You got to give them credit for taking a risk there. They're 4 boat lengths behind. There hasn't been anybody that has been able to pass Alinghi in this entire event from 4 boat lengths behind. They're very comfortable on Alinghi. That's keeping the game close. So, Team New Zealand did take a chance, and unfortunately it didn't work for them.
And in the process, they've broken the spinnaker pole.
Happy for me to start going, Nick?
Let's go.
So now it's out to 180 meters.
Try and lift that string.
So really now 7 boat lengths, Team New Zealand trail. As Alinghi drop their symmetrical spinnaker
It's spinning.
at Mark 4. Dean Phipps and Murray Jones on the foredeck there of Alinghi. Everything just running so beautifully and so efficient. So Team New Zealand were trailing by 16 seconds at the last mark. They've lost time here. The symmetrical spinnaker didn't pay off. The break of the spinnaker pole added to their woes. And they round the leeward mark 4 with 1 lap or 1 windward leeward to go. Now trailing 31 seconds behind. So 2 legs, 1 lap to go.
Okay, take more. Nice grind.
Here in the race 5.
Let's have it.
Well, the Team New Zealand crew, though, you can feel they're still working hard and trying hard.
Well, PJ, it's just as easy for something bad to happen to the other team. And these races are never over, so you got to keep pushing the pressure on. Here goes Team New Zealand tacking. Alinghi will certainly come with them as soon as they have a smooth spot. They were between waves right there.
It's coming up now. 2 and on, here we go.
Yeah, Alinghi has not tacked, and I'm curious as to why.
Here they are now.
Here they come, yep. They're still going to be, and here's why, because they'll still be slightly bow forward, having tacked right there. And they're in a little bit of a right-hand shift on average. We're over in a 30 wind direction, which is right-hand for the average on the race. And the likelihood that it's going to shift left slightly is higher than shifting right. So Team New Zealand in a smart, Alinghi in a smart place there, just protecting the left in case that shift goes their way.
These beautiful sailing conditions still with us on the Hauraki Gulf. It is a fair, even test today in a mid-range conditions. And now into the second last leg of the race. Leg 5 of race 5 of America's Cup 2003. Alinghi with a huge lead now of 7 boat lengths. Comfortably in control.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this. Yeah. Bad ways.
Looks okay on our left too, yeah.
It's part of the new direction, isn't it? Yeah. It actually looks better pressure left at the moment.
I'm with you.
Betson quite right, he's on that run though, didn't we?
Yeah, oh shit, yeah. But I'm
Guys, making the runner.
Yeah.
Speed's okay here.
It's good mode, Daggy.
The flatter water again now. He actually...
Down a little bit here now.
Same pressure out of the tack.
Tag.
Bring it up again. Yeah, man under. Oh no, that's got four right.
Yeah, I just think we wait till he's on the line, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think? Y'all can just stand line?
Little short waves.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
After these ones. No, it's still back up now. It's actually good left. We'll just hold on for another few. It can be a little loose. Starting to go. Find a flat spot now, eh?
So the heading's just the same.
Checking. Wait, Sam, I just missed them.
Okay, straight into some runner. There we go.
To hold if you want.
Yeah. Okay, hold.
No, we're better off putting it together here now because it's long starboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
They need someone else to help there.
Steady at this pressure, Daggy.
No change in the race on this, the fifth leg, the last upwind beat. And a bit of a problem for Team New Zealand just prior to the last mark when the spinnaker pole broke, and we're just keeping an eye out to see. We're presuming they have a spare one on board, but even so, it broke in an awkward position, didn't it, Glenn, to sleeve it?
We can see the spare pole on deck now, the foredeck working with it. And we just heard a second ago, let's put it together now while we're on this long starboard, referring to the spinnaker pole. And I would suggest they probably had a spare pole downstairs in two halves. It's designed that it can be joined together whilst they're on the race course. But looking at that there, that's
Steady on wind direction
a
here.
6 boat length lead still to Alinghi. So a very slight gain to Alinghi since they went around mark number 4. And Alinghi happy just to keep a loose cover on Team New Zealand, who don't appear to be any hurried attack whilst they're repairing the pole. Just a little bit of right-hand shift as well, which is cutting their options down. They can't really tack when they're on a lift. And really, Bertrand Passe at the shoulder of Dean Barker, thinking how he's going to be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat here.
In this condition, Alinghi has had good speed. And those numbers there probably aren't that's showing boat speed. And of course, we keep talking about VMG, which is velocity made good to the wind, and it's the VMG component where Alinghi shows an advantage. So they're doing the same speeds, but Alinghi is pointing slightly higher to the wind. There's the and there's the VMG speed, so we can see they're jumping around a little bit, but over a period of time, over a 5-minute test, the VMG on the boat on the right-hand side of Alinghi is slightly higher.
Dead downwind, really.
Couple of little waves.
On board Alinghi, 10.2 appears to be their magic number when they are making an advantage over Team New Zealand. So far, we've seen again the Alinghi team have an impeccable race, starting off with that very, very accurate start, time on distance.
Still going
It's the last one. Nice pressure. We're going to have more pressure in about 30.
What's the bearing to him, Ernesto?
48. Good pressure in 10. Yeah.
Murray Jones, traveller trimmer and strategist.
Yep.
Really hot. That's what we have
Calling
on the run.
more breeze building, and it's coming on the right-hand side. It's Murray Jones there, sitting immediately in front of Russell
Nice
Coots.
flat water.
And Murray
Right
Jones
now, if we tag Simo with him, he'd just be aiming straight at us.
has just done so
Yeah,
much
he'd be aiming
sailing
straight at us.
in this part of the Hauraki Gulf, and doesn't it show?
Certainly there's no hometown advantage for Team New Zealand against Alinghi,
Little lift
with
there.
so many of the
It's a nice lift. That's
afterguard and so many of the
6 degrees up.
Alinghi crew have also
degrees
been
up.
brought up on the beautiful conditions in the Hauraki Gulf. A lot of their informative years were done sailing in these waters, off Takapuna, off Murray's Bay.
Beautiful stuff there. Right out of the top mark.
What do you think about the breeze up the course, guys? Take a look at that.
Looks pretty even.
It looks
mate.
all right on the left.
Maybe
but
slightly
pretty
different
even.
on the right.
I'd say it's pretty even.
Looks good up there. Cool ship, mate.
So Murray
We're
Jones
left-hand face at the moment. I'd
saying
call it.
that the breeze looks even for
So
the
we'll
run.
probably still see some 25s.
That's where the top mark is.
A little breeze coming back in 10, just a little.
So Murray Jones, when he says
There's the
10,
breeze now.
he means 10 seconds.
Just so accurate. That information for the non-sailors. People must be sitting here watching and listening to this and saying, well, these guys are, you know, top of their class, aren't they?
Team New Zealand, their options, of course, they're doing the repair on that spinnaker pole, so they'd be a little bit hesitant to get into attacking duel while the forward part of the boat is still working on the pole.
Just steady pressure.
You've done well there, ladies.
So while Team New Zealand
their
get their
top
pole
marker
ready,
last time.
what appears to be the last beat of America's Cup 2003.
Little pressure coming
SUI
back.
64, Alinghi, who led at the last
Get a
mark
little
by
bit of pressure out
31
of the tank.
seconds, still in charge, race 5 of the America's Cup.
Nice tag.
Coming in, Mike. Okay.
Coming on now, here we go. Speed's coming up. Coming on slowly.
Nice pressure building here. He's squeezing.
On there.
Nice pressure here. Nice, Mike. Nice, mate.
Okay. Here we go, trim it up now. Real fast build here.
Still got us as high as we've ever been, really.
0.5.
It's a nice lift. Yeah.
Probably if anything I'll pick the left. Anything I'll pick the left, I think. Oh, is
He
he?
just thinks the puffs are coming from the right.
Oh, yeah.
Cap.
I'm just looking up my Turi there. Yeah, just what we've got.
Steady at this pressure.
Touchdown from what we had at the bottom mark.
Yeah.
No big change on Team New Zealand.
Great orange mark.
Dean Barker running out of time on the last windward beat.
Very steady.
Closing to the top. of the penultimate leg of race 5. Alinghi with the yellow trail, still enjoying a 6-length advantage. Just a little exchange of tacks there. Alinghi forcing Team New Zealand to do the extra tack. As Alinghi squeezes into the tack, maintaining a loose cover on Team New Zealand as they come through onto port tack. The grinders trimming the Genoa in.
Good pressure out of here.
Murray Jones calling good speed as the grinders go into a lower gear.
I reckon the breeze is okay up towards Turi.
Spin the winch just for final trim, and that's the view down to Team New Zealand. A big lead for Alinghi, approaching the final mark of race 5. Team New Zealand now really wondering what they can do to get back into this race. There we see the much vaunted Hula, that join in the hull.
Same for breeze up there, eh?
There it is, 140 metres, identical to the margin around the bottom mark.
A minute and a half in front of us. Might be a bit of shadow, but 2.
So Dean Barker looking ahead, trying to find a way past Alinghi.
Bit of weed there.
But options, Peter, are rapidly running out for this team.
Not a lot left for Team New Zealand. Dean Barker had certainly 2 of the tougher weeks in his sailing career. And the separation between the boats, Alinghi very comfortable. In terms of distance travelled, the boats sail about 1 boat length in 5 seconds. They're doing around 10 knots of boat speed. Bertrand Passe
Generally a little softer here.
came on as the tactician. Warwick Fleury, one of the Kiwis on board Alinghi.
We're up, still 6 degrees up.
Part of that
We're on this tack.
team that have been with Russell Coots for so long, and sure, we give a lot of credit to Russell and Brad Butterworth, but that whole team approach and the number of successes that they've had are attributed to Warwick, Fleury, Simon Daubney, Dean Phipps.
We're high.
Okay, we're very high here.
Topmast backstage being hooked back in, preparing for the downwind leg. Jochen
That's what
Schumann.
it is.
And Alinghi picking up a bit of left-hand pressure just to rub a wee bit of salt into the wound. They are nearly out to 8 boat lengths ahead. In fact, yes, they are 8 boat lengths ahead by virtue of a little bit of a left-hand shift as Team New Zealand comes back 200 metres behind. So Alinghi sailing masterfully again up this leg and really giving Team New Zealand the scraps to play with.
Alinghi has been on this constant march forward over Team New Zealand.
Choppy water here.
Showing on the windward legs to just have the option of being higher and about the same speed or lower or the same angle and faster, so that the gains and the speed advantage in this beautiful sailing conditions, 15, 16 knots, are with Alinghi. And of course, they're sailing the boat to that very, very high standard that everyone else in the Louis Vuitton Cup and the America's Cup will be measured by in the future.
We could go here, would set us up.
So SUI 64 continuing with this flawless performance again against the America's Cup defenders. Mark number 5 approaches, just 4 minutes away.
Clinical.
Good breeze out of there.
Really good pressure here.
Really good pressure.
That's Alinghi. And as he has told us time and again, not only in this race, but also in the Louis Vuitton, Alinghi are just so patient. And they'll work out to whatever position at the start, and even if it doesn't work out, they'll hang in, and then they'll work for that 5 meters, and another 6 meters, and another 8, and it all totals up.
Peter, it's all about percentages. You know, they get, when the boats are within 2 or 3 lengths of each other and they gain a few percent, it's just a few meters. But when they're 10 lengths apart, like they are now, then those percentages, the same 3 or 4% gain on a shift or you know, positioning on an angle, becomes a bigger amount of distance. And Alinghi has just been so, as you say, clinical. It's just perfect. I mean, really done a great job of setting themselves up on the race course in a beautiful position to take maximum advantage, and that just leaves the trailing boat to take risks. And the risks that you take, sometimes they make a gain, but you're usually left with only bad risks as opportunities, and most of the time the trailing boat seems to lose a little more when they take those chances that are offered to them.
So much also will be said, well, Alinghi had a faster boat today in this beautiful sailing breeze. It's a fortnight late. That is reinforced, but also we should say that the microphones coming off these boats do tend to overlook some outstanding sailors and or distort the focus of what we hear. You wonder if this crew went on the black boat, how the positions would be, because it's just not Murray Jones and Russell Coutts and Brad Butterworth. Yes, they are an outstanding group of sailors, but as Brad Butterworth calls it, the tight fart, who includes Simon Dawkins and Warwick Fleury. They're just brilliant sailors. And Peter Van Nieuwhuizen there, just right in the foreground, is a magnificent sailor. Behind him, Ernesto Bertarelli is a very, very accomplished sailor. And he's worked as navigator.
Good pressure here.
Well, now these guys have really brought the greatest out in themselves to make this team successful. And it's very impressive to see.
Good flat spot here. We're on.
Yeah, it's fine. You can take it.
With the,
it's fine.
And here goes Alinghi tacking on their final lay line to get around this mark. Team New Zealand probably following immediately. Looks like they'll both lay the mark easily from there, and you can see that's the straight ahead distance between the boats is how much of a gain that, or how much of a lead Alinghi is stretched out to, and from here it just looks roughly like 8 or 9 boat lengths. There you go. It's just about well, 7 on that chart.
He's brace, guys.
And that's a lot. That's a lot to overcome down this run. Don't expect Team New Zealand to suddenly come alive and start planing up to gain. You never know what can happen, and you got to keep fighting. But Alinghi has just been so flawless. Beautiful work.
Mark 5, the last in race 5 of the America's Cup. And probably the last mark rounding in this America's Cup regatta to be held on the Hauraki Gulf, Auckland, New Zealand. It has been held over the summers of 99, 2000, and now 2002, 2003. Team New Zealand coming to the top mark. The Defender were trailing by 31 seconds at mark number 4. Here, at mark number 5, there has been a big gain to Alinghi. 42 seconds. So Team New Zealand do have a new spinnaker pole. They had a spare tucked away. That's why they quickly got it over the side. So up goes the symmetrical SAP spinnaker, but trailing by nearly 8 boat lengths behind, just too far back to be able to block the wind coming down onto Alinghi, to be able to shadow Alinghi. And the lead now, 230 meters. Alinghi, skippered by Russell Coutts, led by Ernesto Bertarelli. with Brad Butterworth as tactician, are set to make sailing history on the Hauraki Gulf and change the face of the America's Cup the way it's been for the last 152 years.
Nice pressure coming on us. Here it comes. Good pressure here. Yep.
Oh, mate.
Waves. Oh, shitty waves. A little bit left, boys. A little bit on here. We're going the wrong way. That's good there. Hold there. Nice pressure just here.
Nice pressure just here, Pete.
Same height, just a little quicker.
Yeah, we're doing field sheet. Get the field sheet.
Maybe a little higher, a little faster. We are.
Right. Get out on me. Square. Still does. Not in a rush. Just setting safeties up. You're still leading. Yeah. That's good. Go, mate. Sorry, 4 and 7.
Alinghi on their way down the final leg of race number 5. Well on their way to creating America's Cup history as they look at Team New Zealand on the right there. 10 lengths astern of Alinghi. This boat out of Switzerland that has proven to be the best America's Cup yacht in 2003. Sailed flawlessly, and that says it all. 256 meters, a very comfortable lead for Alinghi, heading down towards the finish line, the bottom of the screen, just off the East Coast Bays, comfortably covering this boat here. NZL 82. It's carried the hopes of a nation, but on this occasion it has not been enough. NZL 82
This pressure's sort of 40 behind us.
has not been as quick as this yacht here.
Jack, can you hear me?
Alinghi Swiss 64.
Jack.
Russell Coots on the helm. Star-studded crew, multinational crew, who have just sailed flawlessly.
Bad jive in here.
And we must recognise just how well this crew has sailed. Team New Zealand not giving up, coming through a dive, taking the action back into the middle of the course. Their replacement spinnaker pole up. As the boat comes onto port jibe to look for something. Try and force Alinghi into some sort of an error or mistake to close the game up.
Hold that. Yeah.
But at this stage, it is going to take a major breakdown or mistake from Alinghi to turn this race around.
Team New Zealand, their effort, especially in the crew today, has been a step up.
Quite left hand.
Their jibing and their manoeuvres have been an improvement, but the Alinghi team just do not give the opposition an inch. After that impeccable start by Coots, he sets the standard that everyone else is challenged to step up and meet, but again, Coots will go out to his 14th consecutive winning race in an America's Cup, and it's 15 consecutive races for Butterworth and the five other crew members on board.
Nice breeze here.
Yeah.
Nice
Fantastic
breeze,
record. And I suppose now we
He's going to jibe away.
know how Kookaburra felt in 1987 as defenders, and Young America in 1995 against Black Magic, doing their best, but not good enough to stop the Cup leaving their shores. Switzerland, Alinghi, SUI 64, in the controlling position, as has been pretty much their habit throughout the entire America's Cup Louis Vuitton Cup regatta, which started on October 1, holding that lead, that advantage, and the finish line is in sight.
There's a little lighter out to the right of us.
Plain sailing for Alinghi. Magnificent breeze. It's been a fair test, and it's been a revelation.
Well, great test today, PJ. The conditions were so steady. Of course, we had a little bit of shift here and there, but it was very steady for what we've seen throughout. And a nice solid breeze, no big puff lines or you know, increases in pressure on one side or the other. This was a boat speed race, a positioning race, and Alinghi has shown that they're the best at it right now.
Well, this is the 17th race by a New Zealand yacht in 4 America's Cup matches. It is the 173rd race by a New Zealand marked or flagged yacht from 7 campaigns in 6 Louis Vuitton Cup and or America's Cups. Highlighted when NZL 32 won the Cup on the 13th of May 1995, and NZL 60 successfully defended exactly 3 years ago today on the 2nd of March 2000. Well, I've seen and commentated every race, starting with KZ7 against Heart of America on the 5th of October 1986. It's been an amazing experience, a roller coaster covering the highs and lows, a sailing odyssey. That 173 races later, today, the 2nd of March 2003, is this the end of an era? Well, it will be the end on the way New Zealand campaigns have been funded and put together over the last 18 years in Fremantle, San Diego, and now Auckland. There may be another New Zealand campaign in the future, but it will be very, very different. But the last 18 years that's been achieved by such a small country of less than 4 million people deep in the South Pacific is something to really celebrate. What it has taught us and what it has told us about New Zealand as a springboard to encourage New Zealanders from this generation and future generations to take on the huge hurdles they have and succeed the way they have.
Drinking?
Tika. 2 more.
5 and 2 for the pin. Doesn't get any better than this, Tika.
Brad Butterworth said doesn't get any better than this.
Better, but just go straight here at the moment.
I think he may have been talking about the wind, but
I
not
think
lost.
he might also be talking about the occasion. With Brad Butterworth and some of his other crew.
Doesn't get any better than this in this thing.
Warwick Fleury, Simon Dawdney and Dean Phipps are set to become in a very, very special club. Unbeaten in America's Cup race. Well, it's taken 16 days to get to this. Second longest America's Cup in history.
3 and 3 for the pin.
And finally, the weather we expect in Auckland has finally arrived. There's Ernesto Bertarelli to the left. Russell Coots out there to the right. Simon Dawdney.
Near enough.
And Warwick Fleury to Coots' left. All part of the tight five. Brilliant trimmers. We can't help feeling that is part of the key to success and why Alinghi is a notch quicker to win.
Oh, Peter, it definitely is. These guys really understand these boats and the equipment, and they make them go. And it's not just Russell, it's not just Brad, and it certainly isn't just Murray. I mean, you know, it's important to have those guys looking around the course and making choices and positioning off the line, but if you're not fast enough, you ain't going to win.
There's Richard Bazade, part of the famous sailing dynasty in New Zealand, about to join a very select club of 12. Winners of the America's Cup and the Whitbread or Volvo Ocean Race. Actually, another member of this crew, Curtis Blewett from Canada on the bow, is also set to become a member. Meanwhile, to the right, we just saw Joachim Schumann. He's about to become a member of a very select club of 11. Winners of Olympic medals and America's Cup medals. Brad Butterworth to the left, Ernesto Bertarelli. That's Joachim Schumann right there. He has 4 Olympic medals, 3 of them gold. And now the feeling for Team New Zealand. Adam Beecham to the right, Mike Drummond to the left, who came in with such hopes. And they'll reflect a little on how did it get to this. And there will be questions on what might have been done. In front of Dean Barker is Tony Ray, who was on board NZL 63 years ago to this day.
Nice pressure on us here. Just right on the lever.
There's Josh Spelsky out to the right, who already is going, who won an America's Cup. That was back in 1992 on America Cube.
He's driving away, but...
So that's going to be yet another milestone on Alinghi. Murray Jones sailed to New Zealand in a couple of Olympics.
Can rock this on through, eh? Nice pressure here. Stay low.
You're picking her up.
John Barnett, the big hulking man right in the middle. Again, to add to his CV, he's already won the America's Cup twice. In 87 on Stars and Stripes on Fremantle. And in 88 on Stars and Stripes out off San Diego. He'd really given up competitive sailing, and he went sailing with Brad Butterworth. Here's Joachim Schumann, who won his first Olympic gold medal in 1976 in Kingston Lake, Ontario, sailing for East Germany. My, how life has changed for him. That's Peter Evans, sailed a couple of Olympic Games for New Zealand. Wonderful strategist.
And Peter Alinghi is just sailing straight in. They're laying the finish line if they want to. They don't even have to risk another jibe if they don't choose to.
It depends how hot you sail it.
Well, yesterday Russell Coots celebrated his 41st birthday, but really in many ways now, a day later, the 2nd of March, is becoming more significant for Russell Coots. as he is about to set a new record of 14 wins as a skipper-helmsman in America's Cup racing and remain unbeaten after the matches of 1995, 2000 and 2003. So it'll be Russell Coutts 14, Dennis Conner 13, Mike Vanderbilt 12 and Charlie Barr 9. But because Coutts did not race in race 5 in 2000, he has one less win than his tight 5 of Brad Butterworth, Warwick Fleury, Murray Jones, Simon Dordney and Dean Phipps, who are all about to get their 15th win unbeaten in America's Cup racing and will now win their 3rd successive America's Cup medal. Meanwhile, for Dean Barker, reflections of what might have been. And there are more milestones on Alinghi today. Pitman Jos Belsky will win his 2nd America's Cup. He was on America Cubed in 1992. And another accomplished sailor from the US, John Barnett, will win his 3rd America's Cup. He was on Stars and Stripes off Fremantle in 87 and San Diego in 88. And 2 other Alinghi crews join a select club of 12. Curtis Blewett from Canada on the bow and trimmer Richard Vizay of the famous sailing dynasty in New Zealand are now America's Cup winners and Volvo Whitbread Round the World winners. Curtis Blewett was on EF Language in 97-98. Richard Vizay on the 93-94 Whitbread was on Yamaha. And in the afterguard, Jochen Schumann now adds an America's Cup win to his 4 Olympic medals, 3 of them gold, and joins another select club of 11 Olympic medals. The Alinghi Swiss Challenge for Société Nautique de Genève, in its first challenge for the America's Cup, led by Ernesto Bertarelli and skippered by Russell Coutts, wins America's Cup 2003, beating defender Team New Zealand 5-0. And Russell Coutts makes more history on the Hauraki Gulf. On March 2000, he skippered Team New Zealand to the first successful defence of the America's Cup outside the United States. Now on the 2nd of March 2003, Russell Coutts writes a new chapter in America's Cup history, skippering the first successful challenge from Europe, finally after 152 years and 31 matches. Sailing's biggest prize has a new home, Switzerland. And Dean Barker and his Team New Zealand crew come down to the line to finish 45 seconds behind Alinghi. And reflect on how did it come to this. Reflections on the reliability of Team New Zealand. A beautiful job, yes, clinical, efficient, and now the 32nd or next America's Cup is expected to be sailed on the Mediterranean. The cup that started life on August the 22nd, 1851, in a race around the Isle of Wight, is heading to Europe. And Russell Coutts and his crew, with Ernesto Bertarelli, the syndicate boss in his first America's Cup, are getting a rousing reception from the supporters of Alinghi and the other spectator craft here on the Hauraki Gulf.